Okay, starting with our review for our final for second trimester. Okay, we have a problem right here on number 1. All right, where we have reached a certain point, okay, where we're working on completing the square. We got down to, I believe, on our board at step 5. Okay, so now my first step is that I have to take the square root of both sides. Okay, so that's going to give me 13x minus 7 equals the square root of 110. Okay, my next step, okay, is that I'm going to add 7. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides. So now I have 13x is equal to 7 plus or minus the square root of 110. Divide that by 13. Divide that by 13. And of course, x is equal to 7 plus or minus square root of 110 over 13. All right, any questions on number 1? Okay, so that should give us an answer of B. Okay, B. Anybody have something different? All right, question 2. Again, we're completing the square. All right, what's going to be our first step, everyone? Taking the square root of both sides. Thank you. So, square root of both sides. Okay, so I've got 8x plus 3 equals the square root of 65. Now, one of the nice things about all of my answers is that when I see that all of my possibilities are the square root of 65, I know I can't reduce it. So, my next step, subtract 3. Subtract 3. That's going to cancel. I meant to say that cancels up here. So now I have 8x is equal to negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 65. Divide everything by 8. Divide everything by 8. And my correct answer is C. Okay, correct answer is C. All right, number 3. Okay, I have 4x squared, okay, equals 14x plus 8. So, what if this is a quadratic, what do I need to make everything equal to? 0. So I need to bring the 14x over and the 8. So I have 4x squared. If I'm bringing the 14x over, the sign's going to change and it's now negative 14x. If I'm bringing the 8 over, I'm going to subtract 8. Now I've got my quadratic equal to 0. Okay, now my very first coefficient is something other than 1. So I need to either look at advanced factoring, okay, that needs to be my first step, or look at the quadratic equation, okay, one or the other. Now, what do 4, 14, and 8 all share? 2. So I can factor out a 2. So now I have 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. Okay, now I'm going to first try advanced factoring because I think it's easier. So I'm going to take 2 times 4 is negative 8. So 2. So I have x squared minus 7x minus 8. Do I have any factors? If I multiply, I get a negative 8. If I combine, I get a negative 7. 8 and 1. So I'm going to have x minus 8 and x plus 1. What's my next step? Yeah, a's go back in front of the x's. So I have 2x. Sorry, here's my a right here. Okay, I'm going to have 2x minus 8 and 2x plus 1. Okay, what's my next step? Reduce. So I'm going to reduce where I can. So now I have, this is both divisible by 2, so that's going to be x minus 4, and 2x plus 1, that's not going to change. So now I'm going to make this, now I'm going to solve for them. So I have x minus 4 is equal to 0. 2x plus 1 is equal to 0. Add 4, x is 4. Okay, in this one I'm going to subtract 1, 2x is equal to -1, divide by 2, x is equal to -1/2. Okay, and my answer is B. Okay, answer is B. All right, now, same thing for number 4. Okay, I'm going to work it out here on the board quietly. All right, not telling you to do anything. You guys work it, okay, at your tables. Okay, what does that negative tell me inside the square root? Yeah, I've got to pull its eye out. It's an imaginary number, so is it going to have a real solution? No. So my answer is D. All right. Number 5. Okay, I have x squared plus 10x equals 39. Okay, it's a quadratic, so I've got to make everything equal to 0. So I have x squared plus 10x minus 39 equals 0. Do I have factors that if I multiply, I get a -39? If I combine, I get 10. Do I have those factors? Do they exist? Think about, what are my factors of 39? 1 and 39. 9 plus 3 is 12, so it's divisible by 3. 3 and 13. Can I make those equal to 10? Yeah. So I've got x plus 13, x minus 3. So my real answer is -13 and 3. My answer is C. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I take the opposites. okay, of what these are. So x plus 13 equals 0. So I have x is equal to negative 13. And then x minus 3 equals 0. X is equal to 3. Okay? All right, now number 6. I already see that my possible solutions are all in square root form. So my two options are completing the square or quadratic. Okay, and I am thinking that I need to probably go quadratic because again, that's the one we're most familiar with. But in order to get a quadratic started, I've got to make it equal to, everybody? 0. So I have x squared. Bringing the 2x over is going to change the sign to negative. Bring in the 23 over, changes it to negative. Okay, so now I have x squared minus 2x minus 23. All right, I'm going to use my quadratic. So x equals negative b, so minus a negative 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 23 all over 2. Okay, now minus a negative 2, okay, that's going to be a positive 2. Plus or minus. Now I have 4, the square root of 4 plus 92 all over 2. So when I have 96 here, the square root of 96, I know that I need to reduce it, simplify it, however you want to say. Okay, now I believe you guys like the kind of the upside down cake model. Okay, so let me do that one. Am I still up on the board? Okay, so I have 96. Okay, I know it's divisible by 2, so that's going to give me 48. Okay, I know that's divisible by 2. That's going to give me 24. I know that's divisible by 2, and that's going to give me 12. That's going to give me 2, and that's going to leave me with 6. And so now I know that's divisible by 2, and I'm left with 3. So because this is a square root, okay, and not a cubed root, not a fourth root, okay, I'm looking for groups of whatever that number is right there. And when it's not written in a square root, it's implied that it's 2. So I have a group of 2 right there. A group of 2 right there. So what happens to one of these? It's going to come where? What happens to one of those 2's? Yeah, one of them comes out. What happens to the other one? Disappears. And then this one comes out. The other one disappears. And I'm left with the square root of 2 times the square root of 3. So I know I'm going to have the square root of 6. I have 2 and 2 come out. So 2 times 2 is 4. So I have 4 square roots of 6. 2 plus or minus 2. Now I'm a math teacher. Okay, and I love to put numbers together that have something in common. 2, 2, and 4. Now all 3 have to have something in common in order for this to work. So that's going to go to 1, that's going to go to 1, and the 4 is going to go to, what's the 4 going to go to? If the 2 goes to 1, 2 goes to 1, what's the 4 going to go to? 2. So I'm left with 1 plus or minus 2 square roots of 6. And my answer is B. Okay, my answer is B. All right.